Hi there, I'm Gerald Stevens, and this is my little teardrop camper. This whole project started late last year when my wife saw some small campers and trailers being pulled by motorcycles and cars, and she thought it was really cool, and I've always thought they were very interesting. So I started doing some research on Google and looking at different layouts and different designs and shapes and different ways of building these teardrop campers, and it was pretty apparent that most people are building their own. Now, I could have bought one from some manufacturer, but I decided to take on the project to keep me busy during the winter. So I started out with AutoCAD. I use AutoCAD as part of my job and started laying out the design that I thought I would like to have. And my main criteria was to try to make it as small and as light as possible, thinking that maybe I could build something I could pull with my motorcycle. And the result is my camper, completely empty except for the battery, which is about 40 pounds, ended up being a total of 600 pounds. So I can pull this with my four-cylinder little SUV, or even my Hyundai. I could probably pull it with the motorcycle too, but I'm a little bit concerned about the width of the trailer and not having rear view mirrors. So I may not do that. So anyway, just wanted to give you a little bit of a tour. I had quite a few friends who thought this was a really interesting and different project, and so I thought, well, I'll do a little video tour and just kind of walk you through what I did and how it works. So I had my AutoCAD plans for my basic layout, and I decided to base it on the 4x8 aluminum trailer from Northern Tool. So the trailer, the base, and the basic frame are a kit that I got from Northern Tool. And I got the aluminum one. It was a little more expensive, but it was also about 90 pounds lighter in weight. Of course, this particular one happens to be a foldable version, but I just didn't put on the hardware to fold it because I'm building the teardrop. Once I got that assembled, then I made my deck with a sandwich. I started with a 1-inch square aluminum tubing outline or frame that is actually about 8.5 feet long. And I did a 1/8 inch luan on the bottom, and then put rigid foam insulation in between the aluminum tubing struts, and then a 1/2 inch plywood on top. And it came out really well. It's very, very stiff, very sturdy, very strong. So that's the floor deck of the trailer. Now from there, I built the frame out of 1-inch square aluminum tubing. The entire frame, and I'll have to go back and look at my numbers, but I think the entire frame, once I got it all assembled, is only about 32 pounds. So it's extremely lightweight. Now I did brazing to connect all of the pieces together. I found a video on YouTube for a product called HTS 2000, and I got their little kit to try out the brazing rods. And I've never worked with metal before. I've never done any welding or any brazing, but my my career, I've done a lot of soldering, electronics soldering. And it's pretty much the same thing. You heat up the material until the material is hot enough to melt the brazing rod. And so I used a butane torch that I picked up at Home Depot, and started cutting out the pieces and laying it out on a form. So one of the things obviously I had to do was to bend the aluminum tubing. And my thought was, well, I'll take a piece of plywood and I'll cut pieces to the shape that I wanted for my overall frame. And thought maybe I could use clamps to pull the tubing around and make that basic shape, and then also ensure that both the left and the right sides were exactly the same. Problem was that this aluminum tubing has a lot of spring back and it's pretty unpredictable, so there was no way for me to get it bent farther and then come back to exactly the same shape that I wanted. So I ended up having to use a 3-wheel tubing bender that I got from Harbor Freight. And I also got these special rollers from a company called Swag Outdoors. And they're a Duralin material. It's kind of a plastic or nylon material. So it doesn't grab and catch the aluminum. And I ended up using that to do my bending. So the form that I made, laid out on the plywood, ended up being the way I checked whether or not my bends were in the right place and the right radius. So this is the basic trailer. I got the framing done with the 1-inch tubing. Put an 1/8-inch luan on the interior, and then did a wood finish with polyurethane on that. And that light on here. So this interior, the two side walls are 1/8-inch luan, and that is glued to the frame on the inside. And then the roof is a bendable plywood that I got from a specialty lumber yard that's really very, very flat, and that's glued across the ceiling to hold that curved shape. And then on the in between the frames, I put the rigid foam insulation, 1-inch insulation, and then sheet skin on the exterior. It ended up working out really well. It's quite rigid. I mean, there's no give here. Once you get all of these cross members all done and get all of the trim work and stuff done, it ends up being an extremely strong frame and body. So that whole assembly is then bolted through the trailer frame underneath, and I did some sealant to try to keep bugs and stuff out of the cabin. So once I got the basic framing done and got the interior skin, bolted it to the frame, put in the insulation in between, then I started working on the cabinet work. And once again, my whole goal here was to keep the weight down to a minimum. So I did a really minimalist approach to the cabinet work. And when you look in here, you can see that instead of doing a bunch of cabinet doors and whatnot, I just made it real simple, a shelf. I have a light underneath there. I'm not sure if you can tell that. So we have some place to store some clothes and shoes and that sort of thing. I have a little cubby underneath the stereo unit. So the door I got from him, and this has a sliding glass window with a screen, and then the window's same, but it has a screen at the bottom. You can slide up the window to get some airflow. And then I also installed this roof vent. And this is an area that kind of splurged a little bit. It's actually from a company called a Max Air. It has 9 speeds, and it is reversible, and you can run the fan even with the hood closed, so you can get at least some circulation. And it also has a thermostat built in. You can push a button and it will adjust its speed and cycling to try to maintain about 78 degrees on the inside. So that's the one thing that I really kind of put a little extra effort into. I think that's about the extent of the interior. We at the moment are just using a standard twin size mattress that we had in the house, and I had to add a little bit of a filler on one side. Believe it or not, it really was no problem sleeping because it's so close to the edge that it isn't where my body was actually laying. But my wife and I slept quite comfortably in this, even though it's only 45.5 inches or so wide from side to side. The sleeping cabinet from the edge of the deck down to the foot is 80 inches deep. So I'm about a 6-foot guy, and I had never did hit the back side of the end of the sleeping cabinet. And one of the things I did, down below here, this panel that separates the cabin from the galley, I actually attached it using Velcro, and I did that so that I could take that out, and it would really make it a lot easier to get a mattress in or out, or to pull off the sheets and make up the bed with clean sheets. Because someone can get up there and take care of the front part, and then I can get in here and slide in there and actually get to the bottom of the mattress very easily. So the hatch, I decided to go all the way out to the edge instead of bringing the walls up and then trying to inset the hatch. And then I have these what they call slam latches. Just undo. And then here is the galley. Now again, the whole idea was to keep the weight down as much as possible. So I haven't done a lot of cabinet work and doors, and I haven't put in a stove and a sink and all of these things. Just wanted to keep it as lightweight as possible. But here we've got the speakers for the stereo. And of course this head unit has separate controls for front and rear, so I can adjust the volume between the interior and the exterior. This particular stereo is AM, FM, and Bluetooth, and then it also has a USB port, so I can have music on a USB stick, or I can connect with Bluetooth to my phone or my computer and play whatever music I would like. I also added a Wi-Fi router, so if I'm at some place that has wired internet available, then I can plug that in, and then I have my own personal Wi-Fi system. I also I had this. It's actually an HD home run. It's a digital network TV tuner. So it will receive up to two different channels of television and stream that video over the network. So I can take my smartphone, or I can use my computer and hook up an antenna to the outside there and actually watch live TV on my computer. Decided to go that route instead of buying a TV and installing it and adding that extra space and weight. The power, I have this power center that I found. It's a company called WFCO. It has 120 volt, 30 amp input, and then it has, I have right now 2 20 amp circuits. So I have a 20 amp circuit inside the cabin and another, or actually 15 amp, and then another one out here in the galley. It also distributes the 12 volt DC from the battery, and it has 6 DC circuits, and then it also has a charger. So whenever I can hook up to shore power or hookups in an RV site, then it will automatically charge up the battery for me. And I have access panel here, and have the 30 amp input power. Also have the port for wired internet or network connection, and then also coax connection here, where I can hook up an antenna, or if the RV hookup has a an antenna distribution system or something like that, then I can hook up to that. And that's my power hookup. The one little thing I did do back here, I put a little tool or storage thing under the floor here, and so I've just got like trash bags and a little broom to clean out, a little small toolkit, and just some basic things that might be needed for traveling or camping. And so I'm using like Tupperware plastic storage bins to organize all of my camping gear, and I can just slip it right here underneath. We have a really nice counter to work with, so I can set up our camp stove here, and then have some area for cutting up and cooking, and another storage area underneath here, and I have the lights to light up this area here. You probably can't see them here, but I'll show you these pictures. I have 2 strips of LED lighting in the hatch that light up the work surface here, and also light up the area directly behind the camper. So at night we have some light in our campsite. It's all controlled in this switch right here. Now, one thing over here also, I have found these on Amazon.com. These little connectors here that have a voltmeter, so I can keep an eye on how much battery life I have left. 12 volt power port for a phone charger or computer or whatever, and then also has a USB charging port, both a 1 amp and a 2.1 amp. And I have one out here, and I have another one inside the camper. So I had so much weight on the back with the battery mounted back there and nothing on the tongue, that I ended up being far too light the tongue weight. It was only about 10 pounds. I could just reach down and pick it up with my finger. So I got this toolbox, mounted it on the tongue, rerouted the cable for the battery up here, and so now I have the battery mounted here in the front. This is a deep cycle marine battery, 55 amp hour rating, and I've also got my basic tools for camping: saw, hatchet. Got my wrench in there if I ever need to change the tires, wheel chocks, cables for the RV hookups. This is the adapter for the power. So those sort of things are living up here in the toolbox, and it really put much better weight on the front. Right now, with nothing loaded in the back, I'm sitting at about 80 pounds on the hitch. Once I get more gear loaded in for camping, then it should be just about right for towing down the road. One of the things I did need to add when I was building the frame is I added these stabilizer jacks underneath. So I have a pair in front and a pair in the back to keep it real stable whenever we're set up and camping. Of course, these have a lever that you stick in there to adjust it. And then I put on these bubble levels on each side and in the back so I can see and make sure that we're getting it set up level. It just drops down. You can use the jack then to make the adjustments to get it all level up. When you're ready to go, you just release it and fold it right up, and you're ready to go down the road. What else am I missing?
I don't think you're missing anything.
So I have to tell you that my camera person today is my good neighbor who lives right next door. He was a huge help in helping me get this project done. Number one, he's got a better shop than most people, so if I had special tools I needed, he probably had it. And then secondly, whenever I needed someone to kind of help me hold something up or give me some advice about how to get around a particular problem, then he certainly was a big help there. So, Mr. William, thank you for your help.
Yeah, you're good.
Get this done. So I'm substantially finished with it, although you've probably seen there's a number of scratches and some fingerprints and that sort of thing. I haven't taken the time to buff it out yet. So that's really kind of the last step that I need to take to try to clean it up, get those scratches worked out, and once I've done that, then my initial build is finished. Of course, who knows what I might end up modifying or adding in the future, but that's one of the cool things about building it yourself is you can make those changes if you want. So thank you for taking a look with me, and I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe it'll spark a little interest for you as well. I'll try to get it cleaned up and post the final pictures here before too long, but I definitely want to take it out another time just to see how it works. But thank you very much. Have a good day.